Madhubatarithayate Madhuksharanti Sindhavaham Madhvi Irna Santoshadhe Madhunaktam Utoshasi Madhumat Parthiva Gumrajaham Madhudaurastu Pitam Madhumanno Vanaspatir Madhumagumastu Suryaham Matvirgabo Bhavantunam Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the winds blow sweetly. May the rivers flow sweetly. May the trees and plants be sweet to us. May days and nights be sweet to us. May the earth be sweet to us. May the sun shine on us sweetly. May the heaven that protects us be sweet to us. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be blissful. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. Friends, we are very happy that we have a guest Swami today, Swami Ishadhyanananda. He is an assistant minister of Vedanta Society of Sacramento. The Swami joined the Ramakrishna order in 2002 and got his final vows in 2012, very young. And he worked on various capacities in Belur in our headquarters and Jamshedpur. And the Swami will speak on Sri Ramakrishna's practical wisdom. Today is our anniversary service. Last Sunday we performed the ritualistic worship of Sri Ramakrishna. So I am very glad that Swami is visiting us. He was in Kansas City last 2 days and then he came here. And we generally don't talk too much about our monks and glorify ourselves. Do you know what do they say? When we take a vow, when brahmacharya vow, there is a mantra. Atmashlagha varjaniyaha. Do not glorify yourself. Varjaniyaha. Shan self-glory. That is one of our vows. So generally monks do not talk about themselves. We talk about Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother, Swamiji. Their ideals we carry. Their message we carry. I remember a story. Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan once asked Swami Ranganathananda, we don't see another monks like in your Raja like Vivekananda. Then Swami replied, you are not supposed to. Vivekananda is Ekas Chandra, a moon is one. There cannot be two moons. Vivekananda is only one. He has the message and we carry his message. You will not find another Vivekananda among us. So we carry Sri Ramakrishna, Swamiji, Holy Mother's message, and the ancient message of Vedanta. That's all. So Swami Ishadhyanananda will speak to us Sri Ramakrishna's practical wisdom. Thank you.
Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotir Gamaya Mriturma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Om lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Good morning. My humble pranams to revered Swami Ishadhyanananda ji Maharaj, who gave me an opportunity to come here and spend a few days in his holy company. When he first asked me to come here, and immediately he asked me to inform him the title of my talk. Let me know the title of your talk, because we are going to publish it in our bulletin. And it was about Sri Ramakrishna. So I was thinking, speaking about Sri Ramakrishna in the presence of Swami Ishadhyanananda ji is like speaking about quantum mechanics in the presence of Richard Feynman. So what topic should I choose which will give me a leeway? So I thought, let me choose Sri Ramakrishna's practical wisdom. Another reason I chose this topic is we usually don't discuss the practical implications of Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. We usually discuss the wisdom, spiritual wisdom, the teachings related to the spiritual domain. So I thought, let me discuss something which has got practical implications. What I mean by practical wisdom? The wisdom that we need to successfully navigate through our complex world. That is what I mean by practical wisdom. And when I thought about Sri Ramakrishna's practical wisdom, in the beginning, when I suggested the topic, I had a few in my mind which I shall explore. And when I started exploring, the first one that came to my mind was so profound, I found so profound that is enough for a talk. So I have chosen only one practical wisdom that Sri Ramakrishna has given us, which has got immense implication in our day-to-day life. So which practical wisdom I am referring to? Let me contextualize. Most of us know about Dr. Mahendra Lal Sarkar. He was the famous homeopath doctor at that time in Calcutta who treated Sri Ramakrishna for his cancer. Dr. Mahendra Lal Sarkar was in the beginning a skeptic, or at the best an agnostic. But as he started coming to Sri Ramakrishna, slowly there was a change in him. He liked the company of Sri Ramakrishna more and more. He started spending more and more time with Sri Ramakrishna. So much so that he used to forget about his other appointments, other prior appointments. So at last what he used to do, he used to keep the appointment of Sri Ramakrishna towards the end of his day so that he can spend most of his time with Sri Ramakrishna. He came, he examined Sri Ramakrishna, but later on kept on talking about various topics, spiritual topics, philosophical topics. So one day it happened that Mahendra Lal Sarkar came and examined Sri Ramakrishna. And there were other disciples of Sri Ramakrishna sitting there. So they asked Mahendra Lal Sarkar that, what do you think about some scientists who say that there is no God, or those who say that God is like this, not more anything else. This is what God is. That is what is. What do you think about those opinions? Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar said, those people who speak like this have seen only little, have learned only a little, and that's why they limit God. But take my example, Mahendralal Sarkar was talking, take my example, I always am ready to learn from everybody. I am not ashamed. I don't feel humiliated when I learn new things from anybody. I believe that there is a scope for learning for everybody. Everybody knows something which I don't know. So there is scope for learning from everybody. And pointing to the disciples who were young, very young, he said, I believe that I have many things to learn even from these young boys. Sri Ramakrishna was very happy. He said, right you are. That is why I tell these boys very often that don't say I know. Say, as long as I live, so long do I learn. So this is the practical wisdom I wanted to choose. I wanted to choose for sharing with you, to talk about this lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is being discussed a lot nowadays. The value of it is being felt more than ever. Why it is so? Because the society that we are now living in is a knowledge society. Earlier we were in agricultural society, then industrial society, now knowledge society. Knowledge society means where it is the goods, the economy will be driven more by information and knowledge. And it will be a knowledge incentive society. And in knowledge incentive society, knowledge society is a complex society. What is meant by complex society? Any system can be either simple system, complicated system, or complex system. Simple system means, for example, this light, switch on, switch off, simple. Complicated system, for example, flying an aeroplane. It's complicated, it has got many parts, but result is predictable, fairly predictable, although it has got many parts. But complex system is where there are many variables which continuously interact with each other, and the outcome can be very much unpredictable. For example, weather system. Why weather system is so much unpredictable? Because it is a complex system. There are so many variables, and each influences the other. So knowledge society is complex in this sense that now everything is related to everything. So in Asia, one country draws surgical strike to another country, the stock market in USA falls down. A post in social media can cause upheaval in a society. So these are the examples of complexity. And this is part of knowledge society. So knowledge society, the globalization, interconnectedness, and fast-changing world makes us, is what, for these things, we need to constantly adapt to the changes. And to constantly adapt to the changes, we need to be lifelong learner. Apart from that, research have pointed out that after retirement, staying active and keeping our brains constantly engaged can make us immune to many physical and mental ailments. But how to keep ourselves constantly engaged? How to keep our brain constantly engaged? Simple answer, through lifelong learning. There is one lifelong learning guru. Her name is Nancy Nordstrom. She wrote a famous book called Learning Later, Living Greater: The Secret for Making the Most of Your After 50 Years. There she writes, when you look at the benefits gained from keeping your mind sharp, it is incredible. Lifelong learning is like a health club for your brain. And an active mind can stimulate physical activity and keep your spirits high. It is an all-round fantastic tool for better health. Lifelong learning is gaining so much importance in today's world. And Abraham Lincoln said that, I don't think much of a man who is not wiser today than what he was yesterday. So how we can become wiser every day, day by day, through the process of lifelong learning. So in the 21st century, we all need to be lifelong learners. Lifelong learning in academic circles is called LLL, lifelong learning. What does it mean? Lifelong learning means the process of acquiring knowledge and skills and also expanding the knowledge we already have or expanding the skills we already have. And they categorize lifelong learning into 4 types: formal learning, non-formal learning, informal learning, and self-directed learning. What are they? What is formal learning? What is non-formal? What is informal? What is self-directed? It is simply to understand. I found it very interesting. If we ask 2 questions, what I am going to learn and how I am going to learn, depending on the answers we get, the learning can be categorized into 4 categories. For example, if we take admission to school, we don't have control over what we are going to learn. The curriculum is set. I don't decide what I am going to learn, nor I decide how I am going to learn. So when the answer is of what I am going to learn and how I am going to learn is not in my control, it is formal learning. The structured learning, organized learning, which very often leads to a diploma, a certificate, a degree. Non-formal learning. Non-formal learning, I decide what to learn, but I don't decide how to learn. For example, we hear that a workshop will be held about gardening or landscaping. I feel that, I need to know about new methods of landscaping or water-sensitive gardening. So I decide what to learn, but I don't decide how the workshop will be held. What will be the method? It will be taught. It is non-formal learning. Informal learning is what? I decide how to learn, but I don't decide what to learn. Your boss asks you to learn spreadsheet in 1 week. So you don't decide what to learn, but you have the freedom to learn from book, from internet, from your friend. It is informal learning. And fourthly, when we have control over what I am going to learn and how I am going to learn, it is self-directed learning. Okay, you choose a subject and you also choose the method, whether it is online course like Coursera or a book or anything, discussion or joining a group discussion like that. So both are in your hand. That is self-directed learning. And this self-directed learning also includes the learning that we gain, the things we learn in our day-to-day life from our interactions with the world outside, people outside, or the environment we are in. So for us, especially, self-directed learning is most important. So forget about non-formal learning, formal learning, informal learning, whatever. What I want to emphasize is lifelong learning is a philosophy. It's a philosophy, it's an attitude that we need to embrace. We need to be lifelong learner. How to be lifelong learner? We are. We knowingly, unknowingly, we learn. Continuously we learn. But when we were children, so much curiosity we had, so much thirst we had for knowledge, for learning, that slows down with time. Why? Because when we become good at something, it is painful to be novice again and again. When we are learning something new, we have to become novice. It is always not very comfortable experience to become novice again and again. But Erika Anderson is one psychologist who specializes in this area, lifelong learning. She wrote an article 2 years ago in Harvard Business Review, Learning to Learn. So what she and her team found in effective lifelong learners, those who learn effectively throughout their life, 4 qualities or 4 attributes. Number 1, aspiration. Effective lifelong learners have strong aspiration to learn. When we think about aspiration, we think either we have aspiration or we don't have for something. But they found that the lifelong learners can raise their aspiration level. When we are confronted with new learning, that we have to learn something, then very often we justify that, no, this is too much time consuming, or the old way was working better for me. Why to learn new things? So she found that lifelong learners, who are effective lifelong learners, they don't concentrate, they don't focus on the challenges or the negatives of learning new things. They rather focus on the positive things. What I am going to gain if I learn this. See, she gives an example of a CMO, Chief Medical Officer, whose boss wanted him to learn about big data. Big data is a big thing now, so it is driving the industry, information technology industry. So his boss asked him to learn big data, but he did not want to learn about these new things, cumbersome things. He kept on justifying not learning in this way, that I am a medical officer. What I have to do with learning all those things? This about our computer and information technology. How will it make me more efficient? There is no need for learning these things. So the boss hired Erika Anderson and her team to motivate the CMO. So Erika Anderson understood that it was a problem of aspiration. The CMO was focusing on the negatives, the pains, the troubles involved with new learning. Instead, she suggested that talk to your peers who have learned new data, big data, and think about in the future, envision a future where you are reaping the benefits of learning new data. What your peers are gaining from learning new data. Very soon, when the CMO started focusing that positive effects, positive benefits that he will get from learning big data, he was motivated to learn big data. That's aspiration to learn new things. Look at the life of Sri Ramakrishna. He had the highest experience in spiritual life, spiritual domain, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. It can be compared with the Everest among the mountains. But he had tremendous aspiration to learn other ways of communicating with God. And it was not very comfortable things. For example, when he was practicing Advaita Sadhana under Totapuri asked him to forget about Divine Mother Kali, which was so dear to Sri Ramakrishna. But the aspiration to have newer experiences in spiritual life, he shunned even the image of Kali. When he started practicing Islam, he forgot all about his Hindu ways. He started dressing, eating like a Muslim. So it is all about aspiration, about learning new things. So although Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the Everest of mountains, it does not mean the end of the world. Sri Ramakrishna understood, even though Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the Everest of among the mountains, there are other mountains to scale. So he had aspiration of that kind to experiencing God in different ways. This is about aspiration. Then secondly, second attribute or second qualities that effective lifelong learners have is self-awareness. When it comes the need for learning, our assessment of ourselves, that what we know, sometimes can be very inaccurate, what we know. David Dunning, a psychologist in Cornell University, he conducted a survey among the professors of the university. 94% of them said they are working better than the average. Think about that. 94% were thinking they were better than average. Can it be? It cannot be. If all are thinking that I am above average, they are not above average. Only 6% of the professors thought, no, they have much more scope to update themselves, to learn. And those are the teachers, they were constantly updating their skill, learning new things, and they were proved to be the better teachers. Good teachers are good learners. So, the good learners, effective lifelong learners, they accept the fact that what they know is not the final. There are always possibilities to update, to correct their worldview, their model of any field they have. Whatever they know can always be updated. There is a possibility. This is about self-awareness. Then, third one is vulnerability. When we become good or even excellent at some things, we rarely want to go back to being not good at other things. So, when we are afraid, when we are learning something new, to ask, feeling embarrassed about asking dumb questions. But great learners allow themselves to be vulnerable enough to accept that beginner state, that beginner status. When we are starting to learn something new, we have thoughts like this, that I hate this, I am such an idiot, I will never get this right, this is so frustrating. But the ideal mindset for lifelong learning is both being vulnerable and being balanced. Vulnerable in the sense that we have to tell ourselves, I am going to be bad about this to start with, because I never knew about this earlier, but very soon it will be okay. I'll starting doing it right. And research has found that if learners are encouraged to expect mistakes and learn from them early in the process, they have heightened interest and better performance. I can endorse this fact, how learning new things may feel like being vulnerable. Before coming to USA, I thought I was fairly good in English until I arrived here. When I arrived and when I started speaking to Americans, they started asking, what? What? Pardon? Say that again? So I was unable to accept that my pronunciation was wrong. I mean, still wrong, still wrong at many places, but it was unsettling for me to accept the fact that my pronunciation is not good. So I started justifying, no, I am following British pronunciation, and so that's why they are not following. Then I understood, I am neither doing British pronunciation, not American pronunciation. What I was doing was wrong pronunciation. Accept the fact that you are bad at sometimes in pronunciation, then there is scope for improving. So then I requested some of the devotees who come to my talks that please give me a feedback about wrong pronunciations. There are many I know, but to start with, give me feedback about the grossly wrong. Okay, so that I can work upon. So and I started also listening to NPR. While going to sleep, I listen to NPR. So I am working on that. But soon, I had to become vulnerable. Yes, I am bad at this. Until I accepted the fact that I am new, I have to learn, there was no scope for further development. Interestingly, if you read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, very often he says, I am a fool, I know nothing. Out of humility, of course, he is saying that. But he was ready to accept at many things that he really did not know about. He used to say, frankly speaking, except Mother Kali, I don't know anything. He was honest enough to accept that he did not know many things. So lifelong learning depends upon this, accepting that many things we really don't know. And unless we accept that fact, there is no possibility of learning any further. And the fourth three attributes I have talked about, one is aspiration, second is self-awareness, third is vulnerability. And the fourth one is the most important one. Even if we forget the other three, does not matter. This is most important. What's that? To become a lifelong learner, we need to have curiosity. Curiosity to learn. Albert Einstein said that the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. He says curiosity is a holy thing. Keeps asking. So if we observe the kids, how much curious they are to learn. Even some of the researchers have said that curiosity is kind of drive, just hunger and thirst is a drive. Among the kids, curiosity is kind of drive. And lifelong learners, effective lifelong learners, they can keep this lifelong curiosity, childlike, kids-like curiosity throughout their life. How do they keep it? They always ask themselves curious questions. Why it is so fascinating? Why people are so much, thinking about this, talking about this? Why there are so much talk about this topic? This kind of curious questions they ask themselves. Or how, for example, the work I am doing daily, how it can be done in a different way. The same dish I am cooking, how it can be done in a different way. Even changing the spices a little bit, how it can be changed, how it can be more innovative. So this type of questions the effective lifelong learners ask themselves. Think about Sri Ramakrishna. He was curious. How the people of other religions communicate with God, let me know that. Even in so-called secular things, he had so much curiosity. He wanted to know how photography is done. He went to a photograph studio, to know how they do the photography. And he saw that to have the impression on the glass, they have to first coat with a powder, a black powder. Otherwise, there won't be the impression. And later on, he says that, to Keshav Chandra Sen, he says that, you know why the talks or your lectures don't bear much fruit? Because if there is not the coat of earnestness and devotion, the lectures, how many one may listen to, don't make much impression. Then he is curious to see the National Museum in Calcutta. He went to see National Museum and he watched the fossils. And later on he says, look, living with the fossils, the skeletons have become fossils too. This power of holy company. The kind of company you will keep, the kind you will become. So he was curious about many things. How the tide happens, he asked. He was curious about how the level of the ocean goes high and down. Tell me that. Try to make me understand that. What does your philosophy say about this thing? He was curious about all those things. And so he was such a great lifelong learner. So lifelong learning or curiosity, role of curiosity in lifelong learning has gained much momentum in recent years, although from a altogether different source. Probably some of you know about Tom Friedman, who writes a column in New York Times once a week. In 2005, he wrote a book which was international bestseller, The World is Flat, A Brief History of the 21st Century. Incidentally, he got the inspiration of this book in Bangalore, India, from Nandan Nilekani, who said that the world is becoming a more and more level playing ground due to globalization. So he was fascinated with the idea and took leave from his work and wrote this book, The World is Flat, A Brief History of 21st Century. In that book, he said something very interesting, which caught the attention of the psychologists who are educational psychologists. He said that with regard to educational achievement, curiosity combined with motivation to learn is much more important than intelligence. Curiosity plus the motivation to learn is more important than intelligence. So a lot of research then started about curiosity. How curiosity can be, earlier it was thought that curiosity was a trait, but now the emphasis is on how curiosity can be enhanced. Is there any way to enhance the curiosity among us? So, speaking about curiosity, the psychologists say that there are two types of curiosity. One is perceptual curiosity and other is epistemic curiosity. Perceptual curiosity is which draws our attention. Okay, a nice flower, a nice new kind of bush we see and want to know what is this. Or in a different structure, a different pattern of a building draws our attention. We want to know what is this. So that is perceptual curiosity. But there is another epistemic curiosity, that is our innate, intrinsic desire or our intellectual curiosity to know something more in depth. And when it comes to epistemic curiosity, what matters most is how we see the information gap. Information gap is what we know and what we want to know. What is the gap in between? Example, think of the soap operas, how they end with cliffhangers, right? To keep our curiosity, because we have known to some extent, but soon we want to know more. We want to close the gap. We identify a gap of information, that what we know and what there is something other to know to close the gap. This is information gap. The closer we are to an information gap, the more curious we are about. Okay. So for example, if we know, say, the basic tenets of Vedanta, but we want to know in details, that is finding information gap. And the more we know about Vedanta, the more we want to know, because we feel that there is something more to know. There are some questions which needed to be answered. For that, we want to know more. We identify information gap. Those of you who have read Dan Brown's book, I like Dan Brown's book, Angels and Demons and all. So you will understand that every chapter ends with such cliffhangers that there is always a need, as if that you forget eating, sleeping, and you want to know what is next. What is next? He holds our curiosity by creating this information gap. So, and this is important in the sense that the more we feel about the importance, about what needed to be done, even if we give imaginary importance about what we are going to learn. Okay, for example, one of our Swamis told me, very senior Swamis in Velur Math, very learned, scholarly, he said that when he is studying something, philosophy or religion or anything, he imagines that he has to write an exam, as if he is preparing for exam. So it gives an imaginary importance to what he is studying. So it makes him more curious about what he is going to learn. So to identifying the information gap, what we know and what there is more to learn, makes us more curious. And what is more important about finding the information gap is when we know something, but we want to know more of it, that kind of learning becomes deep learning. So there are two types of learning, they say, surface learning, deep learning. Surface learning is just a casual curiosity about something. What is the temperature today at Kansas City? Just learning. But deep learning is what we already know and expand our knowledge, or integrating what we already know with what we are learning new. So this kind of learning is very deep learning, and that gives us great intellectual joy. And that kind of learning is very satisfactory and remain with us. So someone has said, old age starts where curiosity ends. That is true. So how else we can enhance our curiosity? Trying to notice everything around and asking curious questions: who, why, how, when. The kind of questions children ask. Sometimes they ask even silly questions. I remember I was traveling in flight in India, and there was a kid beside me. So he was asking his mother, who is the father of aeroplane? So curious question, of course, not that kind of silly questions, but pertinent, important WH questions can make us curious about new things. So then trying something new every day, every other day, breaking the pattern, breaking the routine can make us curious. So, but there is a proverb that curiosity kills the cat. So Arnold Edinburgh, who was a Canadian writer, he said that curiosity is the very basis of education. And if you tell me that curiosity kills the cat, I say that the cat died a noble death. So the gist of all this thing is that we have to make lifelong learning a habit. And we have to nurture the habit, have the attitude of lifelong learning. Now, a few practical implications or advantages of lifelong learning. Lifelong learning sharpens the mind. Because with passing days, any doctor will tell you we are losing neurons in the brain. But neurons don't grow. Neurons we are losing every day. What we can do only can make new connections. New connections. How to make new connections? Learning new things. Sharpens our mind. Then sharpens the confidence. Because learning new things is getting out of our comfort zone. Getting out of our comfort zone and learning new things. That makes us confidence to face new things. Sharpens career opportunities that any IT person will tell you. Every other day they are asked to upgrade their coding language. They have to always update their skills in their field. And it is believed that by 2025, 70% of the jobs that are available now will go extinct. There will be new types of jobs. So one has to keep on updating their skills. Then, lifelong learnings help us to adapt to change. As I said, world is changing, and now it is changing in a frantic pace. To keep up with the change, we have to adapt. And to adapt, we have to learn, always learn. Lifelong learning opens the mind because we try to see things from different perspectives. Not only what I know true about something, but we also come to know about other viewpoints about a particular issue, a particular thing, a particular theory. It expands our mind. It opens our mind. And there are many benefits, but one greatest benefit is lifelong learning is positive for health. Cognitive disorders like Alzheimer's, that can be checked only through lifelong learning. Learn new things, keep your brain engaged. And also, you will find that lifelong learners are generally happier than their counterparts. See happier people, most likely they will be lifelong learners. They are always learning new things. And when it comes to spiritual life, I would say that lifelong learners are humble. This humility that comes to lifelong learners is a real humility. It is not an imposed humility. Because the more they learn, the more they know for sure that there are so many things to learn that I cannot be proud about that I know this thing. How much difficult it is to have mastery over even a single thing. Take any example, Vedanta. One cannot end in his lifetime or her lifetime to know everything about Vedanta. Fundamental tenets we can know, but there are so many viewpoints, so many books, so many commentaries, even that is difficult to say that I know everything about Vedanta. It makes us humble. If we are lifelong learners, we become humble. That's what we see in Sri Ramakrishna, childlike humility, because open to learning. He was a lifelong learner. The best example probably we have in front of us as a lifelong learner. I have seen in my life a few monks who were lifelong learners. Swami Ranganathananda, the 13th president, he was famous to be a lifelong learner. At the age of 98, just before a few days of his passing away, I went to his room to offer my pranams. I saw him lying down in his bed and engrossed in a thick volume. And I tried to draw his attention by coughing, but, but he was engrossed in the book. I thought, what is this book he is so much engrossed about? I wanted to know. So I saw that the book was, at the age of 98, the president of Ramakrishna order, he is reading What Went Wrong with the Muslims of India. Imagine the curiosity. At the age of 96, he said, probably I should learn Tamil language. Tamil I don't know. South Indian language, Tamil. He said, I did not know Tamil. Probably I should start learning Tamil. So lifelong learners. There are so many other monks. Of course, a great example is sitting just in front of me, lifelong learners. Very often, whenever he gets an opportunity, he tells us, the younger monks, that be a lifelong learner. Don't ever say, I know. Try to learn new things. So, Sri Ramakrishna did not know many English words, only a few. Two among them were, yeah. Yeah means yes. He used to say yeah when he was very happy, jubilant. He used to say yeah. And another word, thank you. That also he said when he was very happy. So I believe personally, if we are try to become lifelong learner, Sri Ramakrishna would be very happy, and he would probably say, yeah, thank you.
I really appreciate Swami's talk this morning, and he reminded me many things about in my life, learning lifelong longer. Josephine MacLeod, Swamiji's friend, said about Swamiji, you people think Vivekananda was a lecturer and reader. I saw Swamiji was a great learner. He learned everything, every day something new. So his life is very interesting and refreshing. If you continuously learn, your brain will get exercise. It is so important. That is the reason when we read 9 volumes of Swami Vivekananda, we learn always something new. So in Sri Ramakrishna's life, he was talking about, you see, when a person realizes God, that's it. It is over. Most of the yogis, gurus, babas, or the other prophets, one vision, that's it. Do you know what Sri Ramakrishna said? After realizing the Divine Mother, a curiosity came in my mind. I saw the ocean. Then a desire came to know what is inside the ocean, at the bottom of the ocean. The pearls are there. So I dive deep to find out, to unearth those gems and jewels. That is the reason we find no other person in religious history made adventure with so many paths. Vaishnava path, Christian path, Hindu path, Vedanta, all kinds of religious sadhana. My goodness, unbelievable. Recently we published a book, See God with Open Eyes. You will find it, that how we explored the various aspects of human life, spiritual life. He was talking about experience, how we learn. When I first came to Hollywood in 1971, Swami Prabhupada told me, American people will come first time, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time. If they do not understand, they will never come back again. So, learn. So an actress was engaged for me, Arlene Crane. She is from Scotland. Wonderful woman. I have never heard perfect human voice. Still her recordings are with me. She used to come and listen to my lecture. What are the mistakes I made? She recorded. One day I said, once upon a time, a traveler was passing through a desert. She caught me after the lecture. Desert? That is ice cream cake. We eat at the end of the meal. Swami, desert, 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 desert. So I had to practice desert, desert. Where you give the accent? First accent is the Morubhumi, desert. And last accent is the ice cream cake. So I was thinking, Swami Nikhilananda, such a great scholar, translated the Gospel of Ramakrishna. He had the same problem. Do you know what he did? He was lecturing. Ramakrishna's life is the beacon light in this age. Then he was asking Atmaghanananda, he was a famous Swami, John Moffat, who translated all the poems in the Gospel, you see. He was a great poet. All the Gospel songs, he versified. So Swami was asking John, how is my lecture to you? Swami, the moment you say beacon light, after that I did not say, I listen anything. Bacon we eat in the breakfast, Swami, it is the beacon light. Just see, problems, we continuously learn. We continuously learn. That lady, Marlene, taught me 2 years. I say girl. There is no such word, girl. Girl, bird. I started to write. Then he said, Swami, some American accents are no good. And some British accents are not good. American says bath, doesn't sound good. Or British people say garage, that also does not sound good. Barrage, sounds good. Bath, not bath. So we had to fight. And then she said, Swami, let us have mid-Atlantic. Neither British nor American. So we started mid-Atlantic course. I have so much. Swami, thank you. Most of the people do not say thank you. A tongue will come between the teeth very softly. Thank you. Then she took me to Bandar Theatre, my fair lady. She used to take me to the theatre and say, Swami, how many percent you can follow? The dialogue. I go, Arlene, I followed maybe 25%. I could not follow. It will take time, Swami. I tell you frankly, 7 years training. Then some monks also. Once I started to have it, American colloquial, you know. Then one class, our Shiva, she told me, Swami, you said 54 times you know in one class. Is that so? So from next, you will never hear you know from me. We sometimes, then Swami Prabhu, he listens, NPR. I used to, in Los Angeles, KNX, that CBS radio station KNS, that first 5 minutes, every hour, there is a newscast. Every 5 minutes, every hour. So I used to listen, how they pronounce. We have no television. Swami Prabhupada never allowed television. Here also, we have no television. So I had to hear a radio. I used to listen. Then I started to memorize all their advertisements, the commercial. Give your heart to your love, give your hand to your friend, give your call to contact. I used to memorize, Hey, young American kids, what do you like? Baseball, apple pie, hot dog, Chevrolet. All I used to memorize the commercials. Training. It is a lifelong training. Spiritual life has no end. He was talking about curiosity and question. Look at Kena Upanishad, the beginning. Kene shitam patati preshitam manah kena prana prathama praiti yukta kene shitam vachamimam vadanti chakshus srutam kayu deva junakti. The very first mantra of the Kena Upanishad says, Kena. Who is guiding the mind? Who is guiding the sense organs? I want to know. This same thing. In Munjaka Upanishad, very beginning, he was asking, could you tell me? Kusminnu bhagavo vigyate sarvamidam vigyatam bhavati iti. Could you tell me, knowing which everything can be known? That is the beginning of the Upanishad. Could you tell me, knowing which everything can be known? That is Brahma Vidya. Everything can be known. If you know Brahman, you know everything. You are Sarvagya, omniscient. Look our Upanishad. Tremendous curiosity. They explored the whole spectrum of human life. Where do we come from? Where shall I go? What is this world? What is my language? What is my duty? Question after question. Why? When? How? What? Where? As our Western science, goes, they answer this question. Same thing our in Upanishads, in our spiritual tradition. Question. Unending. Anyhow, he took a very important topic and he spoke very well. I really appreciate him. But there are so many things to learn. There is no end. As Swamiji said, the person who has nothing to learn, he is dead. That's Swamiji said. Stagnation is death. The person who says, I have nothing to learn, he is dead. Sometimes I tell devotees, let me tell you one thing. Every day, you give food to your stomach, correct? Yes. Give some food to your brain, to your mind. Otherwise, it will be stale. You go to work, come down, eat, watch television, go to bed. 7 days, you do the same thing. After supper, 15 minutes read. I really insist on our devotees. Read something so that some new thoughts, new ideas must play in your mind. Anyhow, I'm glad we have wonderful, my brother knew, but there are many things to learn. Still I am learning. Still I never say that I am perfect. We learn. Savana bhavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, saha viryam karavabhai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishabhai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May Brahman protect us, may he guide us, may he give us strength and right understanding. May love and harmony be with us all. Om, peace, peace, peace be with us.